Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to talk to the girlies who are in the gym, who are doing everything that they feel like they're supposed to be doing, and they're not getting the result, whether it's been bulking, right? Getting muscle, getting tone, all of these beautiful influencers are online, or losing weight. And specifically, my girlies who do all of the above and who also have PCOS. Because I'm not gonna lie, PCOS makes body composition in general extremely difficult. And in this video, I'm gonna give you some tips. I'm also gonna give you a little bit of explanation so that you understand what you're working with in order to get the result that you want, okay? But before I start, let me introduce myself. For those who don't know me, my name is Zeli Maliambo. I am a wellness and beauty coach, as well as a clinical nutrition specialist. I own a functional clinic called Zeli Wellness. And in my practice, we teach you how to develop a healthier relationship with yourself. So it's not just about nutrition or nutrition information, but really a holistic view on how you can glow up. Okay, so without no further ado, let me get into the juice of this video. So this video actually got inspired by my own personal story because I was that girl. I was that girl that was doing the workout, that was doing everything that she was supposed to do, but my body wasn't responding how it should be responding. And the reason for that is because when I was 27, I got diagnosed with PCOS. So I think it would be cool to share with you guys some of the symptoms that I've been experiencing. I've been able to get rid of most, if not all of my symptoms. I thought it would be cool to share with you guys some of the symptoms, because if you're someone watching this, especially if you're in your 20s and you're experiencing any of that, I would recommend that you go see a doctor to see if you don't have PCOS as well, because that is a huge hurdle in a lot of things in your life, but it can cause long-term effects, specifically in like fertility, in your metabolism, and so forth. So let me share a little bit what I was going through. The first symptom that I was going through, and I will say would be the most annoying, my most insecure symptoms when it came to PCOS, was heavy chin hairs. I had a full-blown beard. It was so heavy. It was so embarrassing. And I was able to work throughout. Now, if you see my chin, you can't tell. I used to have that. But yeah, it was one of the symptoms where I was like, damn, does this condition have to come with this symptom for real? A second one was belly fat. So that's actually one of the characteristics. When clients come to me, we do like a physical assessment as well. For some, not all of them, but those who want to come in physically, we do a physical assessment. And that's something that I look at when women tell me that they are doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, but they're not getting to their goal, specifically when it comes to weight loss or anything metabolism related. Heavy belly fat is a characteristic of PCOS because that condition releases androgen, which is in the family of testosterone, and those hormones are what causes men to usually have the big belly fat. So that also translates into the women's body as well. Another symptom that I experienced was heavy cravings for sugar. Sugar. And that is a characteristic of PCOS. And when I say heavy craving, it's like intense. You have to have it. Everybody has cravings, and cravings are actually a way that you can gather data as to what your body needs in any time or a moment in time. But when you have PCOS, those cravings are crazy, and they usually last for a long period of time. You're not satisfied after having whatever it is you consume. Okay, so that was definitely an annoying symptom as well. Another one is, like I said, difficulty with body composition. So to be honest, in my 20s, I was always very thin. And when you have those cravings, those PCOS cycle craving, you eventually, during that time, you're going to gain weight, right? Because you're craving it and you're giving it to your craving. It could last for like a week or so forth. You're going to gain weight. Usually in my 20s when this will happen, even though it wasn't often, because I was really cautious. I've always been very cautious when it came to nutrition. Even though it wouldn't happen often, when it would, I was able to easily lose the weight. Now when my 30s hit, oh my God, it felt almost impossible. Especially, I had a quick little health condition that I was dealing with in my 30s. And so for about a few months, I was taking the medication to prioritize to heal my body. And there was some hormone changes that happened with that medication. And so I ended up gaining a significant amount of weight. Now I lost all that weight, praise be. But in the journey of losing that weight, it took some time. Now, luckily, I had already done the work that I teach all my clients with my mind, because body composition and changing your body starts with your mind. And so there was no shame. And, it was just, I was trusting the process. And when things weren't working, I assessed them without bringing any shame or any discouragement to my journey. Okay. But that definitely was a symptom, difficulty losing weight, especially in your 30s. And the last symptom that I experienced, which actually was the wake-up call in my 20s when I was like, I need to see somebody because there's something going on with my body, was irregular periods. Now, I remember the day that I decided to go to see a doctor, I hadn't gotten my periods for 5 months straight, and there was no way I could have been pregnant. That was the symptom where I was like, whoa, like something is happening with my body. And that is a symptom that can often be seen with clients who have PCOS. Now, when I was diagnosed, I was like kind of down, I was like, the first thing that came to my mind was like, can I have children, right? I'm not going to be able to have children. So it is a condition, even though it's livable, it is a condition where when you find out that you have, it could really play with your mind. But I'm going to say this to my ladies out there who have PCOS. It is a condition that's also very, very manageable with nutrition, with food. Even though, unfortunately, we have some hurdles that people who have a balanced body don't have, we can get to our goal. We just have to be more mindful. And I want to share some tips with you guys in this video. All right, so let's get to the next topic. So I shared with you guys some of my symptoms, but let's go into the definition exactly of what is PCOS. Recently, the name changed, but I'm gonna stick to PCOS because that's how I'm known the condition, okay? So I'm gonna read the definition. If you Google it, it's going to tell you it's a hormonal and metabolic disorder categorized by hormonal imbalance that disrupt ovulation. Here are 2 keywords that let you know that is going to mess up with anything body composition related. 1 is hormonal. 2 is metabolism. Now, if you've taken my Nourish Your Temple class, which I tell everybody, just take the class. It's literally self-paced. It's $14.99. If you just take the class, you'll have all of these nutrition basics down in your pocket. But if you've taken the class, you know that metabolism basically is the ability for your body to burn calories, basically to use food and change food into energy and burn calories. So someone who has PCOS has a difficulty doing that. They have difficulty burning calories, which is the whole concept of weight loss. So I say this to my sister, the first step to healing, okay, is accepting your environment, accepting who you are, accepting what you have. PCOS is not a death sentence. You just have to understand it. You cannot operate at the same way that someone who doesn't have that condition do. You just can't, because your body don't do the same things, okay? What I will say also is we don't really know what the root cause is. Most likely, I want to say for people of African descent, most likely it is genetic. I know for me it is genetic. The main hormone, let's talk about hormones a little bit. The main hormone that is out of balance, that is not working properly in PCOS is your insulin. It is categorized by what we call insulin resistant, meaning the cells of your body, similarly to what diabetes 2 is, the cells of your body are not responding properly to the insulin being released. Except in PCOS, it's not extreme. Is not to the same level as type 2 diabetes. So what happens is because your cells are not responding, your liver creates more insulin, and there's more insulin that needs to be in your bloodstream. Now that has the effect of everything else, because apparently more insulin in your bloodstream, and I always say this, hormones don't work in isolation. Your body works as a whole. Hormones affect each other. Insulin, when there's too much of it in your blood, affects your ovaries and tells your ovaries, hey, create more of another type of hormone called androgen. Now, androgen is the same family as testosterone. It's like the family, I will say, of the male body hormone. And when that is released, you start having male characteristics like the chin hair that I talked about, the belly, but also a disruption in your ovulation. Okay. And so that is mainly what happens when you have PCOS. Okay. So we talked about the symptoms a little bit. Let me read out some of the symptoms again. You have irregular periods, male-like features, especially chin hair, big belly, extreme carbohydrate cravings, and you have an issue with anything metabolic related. It's a weight loss, muscle gain, or body composition in general. So explain a little bit what PCOS is, and don't use that information as condemnation. Just use that information as, okay, now that I understand that, what can I do in order to get to my goal? And that is the next topic. So let's jump into it. So what to do with that information? So let me start by saying body composition is basically focusing on changing your muscle to fat ratio. Okay, this is what we mean by body composition. And usually we want the fat to go down and we want the muscles to go up. Let me start with if you are a balanced girly, so you don't have PCOS, you don't have any hormonal imbalances in your body, and you're going to the gym, you're doing the workouts, and you're not seeing the results. There's two things that you can correct or pay attention to. The first one is the workout. Are you doing a proper workout? And that's super important because a lot of people may not understand the way in which you want to work out to get results. Get a trainer. It is worth the investment, I promise. Okay, they're going to teach you the type of workout that you need for your body to look a certain type of way. There are different workouts out there, you know, like a bodybuilder work out differently than a model. Okay, so like get a trainer that's going to guide you, even if it's for only 3 months. Someone that's going to guide you into the proper workout for you to get the result that you want. That's one. Two, you are probably not fueling your body the way that your body is supposed to be fueled. I cannot stress that enough. So if you watched my previous video, part 1 to this protein series, I talked about how the body doesn't care about aesthetics, okay? The body cares about survival. And amino acid, which is what our body extract when we're consuming proteins, are super important to a variety of things in our body, including structure, including immune system, including hormones. So the body is going to prioritize these things rather than you looking more toned. So if you're not fueling your body correctly and you're working out and your body needs those amino acids, your body's not going to be like, oh, like let's use the spare amino acid to help her build the muscle. No, it's going to use those amino acids for things that the body consider are more important to survival, and is going to break down the muscle that you're trying to build because it's lacking the nutrients for things that are more important for survival. So that's why proper nutrition is so important. I just feel not feel a certain type of way, but I just wish that we wouldn't portray just weight loss and this and that, or without teaching people the proper nutrition. Because a lot of people, they're working out, but they're not eating right because in their mind, they're prioritizing, let me not eat because I need to lose weight. But what they're doing is they're literally causing damage to their body. All right, now, if you are a PCOS girly, these are a few tips that I want to share with you if you are not seeing the results that you are looking for when you go to the gym. So it's not going to be very much different from somebody who has a balanced body, but there are things that I just want you to be aware of. As in, you're still going to, have to find out what workout works best for you. And if you don't know, get a trainer. You want to nourish your body properly to create the muscle. But there are a few things that I want you to be mindful of and to take into consideration. The first one is your calories. Like I said, PCOS is literally a condition where you burn calories at a lower rate than people who are your peers. People who have the same body type, who have the same age. People are supposed to be burning the same calorie baseline. Who's supposed to have the same calorie baseline as you? You don't have that. Yours is lower. So the first thing that I recommend, that I did myself and that I always do with all of my clients who have PCOS, is to get your baseline calorie read, okay? There are gyms or locations where you can pay a fee for it. You go into a machine and it will let you know what your baseline is. Mine, I believe, was about $150. Depending on where you live in the States or abroad, the price is going to vary. But that is super important, because sometimes you go to a trainer, they give you like these templates, this baseline nutrition guide that you want to follow as you're doing their training regimen. And they have a set calorie that they want you to follow to get to the goal. While sometimes that is not going to work for you, because you don't burn calories the same as an average person who doesn't have PCOS. So that's number one, get your calories right. Okay. I can't stress enough how that has helped me and my clients in their journey. Step number two, let me talk about hormones a little bit to give a little bit of a visual. Hormones in general are chemicals that provide data to your brain and also cause areas of your body to react a certain way. In the case of PCOS, the main hormone is insulin. In the case of insulin, it tells your body, hey, she just ate, there's energy here, take the energy, burn it, and use it for whatever function that you need. That's what insulin does. Like, it tells the cell, hey, clear this energy from the bloodstream. Insulin and sugar in your body is very acidic, and the body does not want sugar or energy to be roaming around in your body. And so when there is energy and it is not being pushed out to the different cells, even though with insulin being present, because the cells are not listening to insulin, which is exactly what happens in PCOS, your liver is like, oh no, we don't want no sugar in the body because it's very acidic, it's going to damage your blood cells. More insulin, and more insulin is being released. However, even though the liver is trying to manage the damage it sees, the brain is processing, wait, there's a lot more insulin, meaning maybe we might need more sugar. And so the brain makes you crave. It's a vicious cycle, you guys. And the brain makes you crave more sugar when really what's going on is insulin is not really doing its job, okay? Or it's trying to do its job, but the cells are not listening. So that's the whole havoc that is happening in your body when you have PCOS. So as someone who's trying to monitor or stabilize their PCOS, your main goal should be to make sure that you try to stabilize the insulin, okay? So what I mean by stabilizing the insulin is that you try to make the insulin more sensitive, or your body more sensitive to insulin. Okay, because having more insulin in the bloodstream, it is what is causing all of the havoc. The liver is reading that differently. The brain is reading that differently. The ovaries are being like, okay, well, I guess we need more male hormone, and it's causing a lot of havoc. But it stems from your cells not really listening to insulin, or insulin not really doing its job. Which one is it? Is the water in the coconut? Who put the water there? We don't know. Okay, so with that information, there are a few things that you want to do, and that is also going to help your body do what it's supposed to do when you go to the gym. The first one is you want to increase your protein. Your protein is so important. This is a protein series, so of course it fell into that. Increasing your amount of protein, whether you work out or don't work out, as a PCOS girly, is so important. Okay, if you are using the formula that I shared in a previous video, and you find out that maybe for you need 150 grams of protein to make your goals, you don't want to start there. You want to increasingly or gradually increase your protein, because it's going to be very hard for you to come from eating 80 grams of protein per day to 150. But overall, you want to increase your amount of protein, because protein are going to do a few things for your body. One, when protein is eaten with carbohydrate, it doesn't spike your blood sugar. When carbohydrate gets processed, it usually by itself, it usually spikes your blood sugar. When it's paired with protein, it doesn't do that. And insulin responds to the spike of blood sugar. So that's a way in which you help to stabilize your insulin or make it a little bit more sensitive. Two, it's going to naturally help your muscle maintain their muscle mass naturally, kind of like the balanced girlies. The more protein you consume, the more your body prioritize, oh, the excess protein can go to the muscle, right? Because we have enough amino acid to do the important things that we use amino acid for. So more amino acids can go into the muscle for them to do whatever. And muscles are a calorie burning machine. Literally, they help insulin do its job. They help clear the bloodstream of energy or glucose. Getting a lot of more protein is going to help your muscle mass, which in general, PCOS folks, we struggle with, whether we exercise or not. That's why you always want to increase your protein in your regimen. And, with the muscles helping clear out your bloodstream, you're not going to have too much insulin. It's going to help your body become a little bit more insulin sensitive. And that is going to soothe your cravings, right? Because your brain is not going to respond to the increase of insulin and tell you to eat more sugar because there's insulin there. Okay. Your brain is going to start minding its business, as it should. Right? So protein has been proven in studies to really, really, really help clients or people who have PCOS. So if you have a PCOS and you're gym girly, you even want to eat more protein than your peers. Okay, you want to eat, using that formula, you want to be in the high end level than your peers, but you want to gradually get there. Okay. And lastly, you want to also include, you're going to go with a trainer, right? You should go with a trainer. And if you do, you want to include weightlifting, because weightlifting, you want to provide your body with an environment where muscles are prioritized, because your muscle are going to help your insulin, and your insulin is what's causing the havoc in your body. Okay. So these are the steps that you really, really want to hone in if you have PCOS and you're working out and you're not seeing results or you're not losing weight. Okay. So follow this step, pause the video if you need to, write them down. Look at my blog. I'll also have these steps laid out if you need something written down, because I know some people work better that way, but these are the steps that are really, really going to help you. So we have come to the end of the video. And I want to say that if you haven't already, please join my mailing list. I share a lot of cool information like this on my mailing list. And also, one thing that really helped me with my PCOS symptom, specifically my irregular period, so since I've started taking it, I have not missed a cycle, is a special tea that I've developed over the years. That tea has been amazing. I'm not kidding you. I go to the doctor and now they're telling me like, hey, like, your cycle is regular, even though you have PCOS, you shouldn't have an infertility problem, which was one of my main worries when I found out about my diagnosis. And truly, truly, that tea has helped. Okay. So I am thinking about putting the tea in the market, but I don't know when yet. If you are in the mailing list, you'd be part of the people that knows when it drops, or even if you are interested, you could join the mailing list and like respond to the email or email me back and tell me like, hey, I'm really interested in this tea. Tell me more about it. You also have access to my WhatsApp group as part of the mailing list if you have any questions that you want to ask me, and that's the only way to get access to my WhatsApp group. So yeah, I hope to see you there, and I hope this video helps. Bye y'all.